That's a good segue to the question I had for Allie. One of the 5 things that she mentioned was intergenerational trauma. She also mentioned that she's not, you didn't say this word, but I'm going to say it. She's not qualified to talk about the trauma within the Black community, even though she was raised by a Black stepfather and had Black.
I could talk about it, but I'm honestly too light-skinned and people would find me socially uncouth. Even though my brother is Black, I saw him be born and I brushed his curls and I loved him because he's my brother. But people are still going to say that I don't know. But I know that as a Caribbean community, growing up around Black communities as well, because we were living amongst each other, even some Asians up in there, we had similar intergenerational traumas that were common themes.
Right.
And so when I hear Kevin talk, sometimes that's what I see come through. And that's why I do value what he says. I know people have opinions and deliveries and things like that, but enough women have acted in the way that he describes them to. When I look at Kevin and what he tells women, I see the intergenerational trauma that happened in my family. Right. From my grandmother to my mother, my aunts, and then down to me, where I was at risk of dying childless and alone. That's why I like what he has to say. I know it's not popular.
Damn, childless and alone.
Right, but you know what I want to say.
That's not what I would want. If it was a choice, that's different. Okay, right. Jen, I had no prospects, girl. I was drowning. All right.
Right. So what I would say is that everybody has a spokesman, right? And I think whether the internet, whether the trolls or whatever, they picked him, right? And he's the spokesman now. I believe at some point, of course, everybody has their waves. Everybody ends up plateauing. That's everybody. Next year, Jen will be the biggest. 5 years later, she will plateau. That's everybody. So everybody's numbers eventually is going to go down. I'm going to be the biggest this year. I might plateau next year. Ali, Kim, the same thing. And Darrell Long, who's coming up soon, it's the same thing, right?
I'm my other business, though.
Yeah, right. And, we don't know what he does on the side, but what I do know in regards to intergenerational trauma, there's a big issue in regards to women selecting their mates.
Buddy. Yes.
Right. Kim and this is not the first time Kim said this. This has been the undertone of many of Kim's comments. That intergenerational trauma, and I remember Kim said it too, we can't compare our community to other communities because of that. And we can't vet men because of that. And we can't say that we are strong enough to forget about that intergenerational trauma so we could pick the right man. So with that being said, can I safely say it's a lost cause?
You asking all of us?
Everybody.
No, it's never lost.
It's not a lost cause for people who have self-determinism, but it is a lost cause, as you can see, for millions and millions, and we've witnessed it online. It is a lost cause. These people are in denial about how dysfunctional they are. They have no accountability whatsoever. Life happens to them. They control nothing. And that's the majority of people. So yeah, for those people, there is no hope. But things are changing, right? And people are realizing, and there are a lot more resources now. Like Ali says, Kevin was the light for me, but there have been self-help books since the cave era. You know what I mean? There are women who uplift women. You know what I mean? Decades and decades and decades. I mean, we had a Iyanla Vanzant saying, hey, not on my watch. This is what's wrong with you. Don't treat your family like that. So this has been going on forever. Kevin is just the trending thing. In 5 years, no one's going to be thinking about that man or his dingy suit. I promise you. Mark my words, it's going to be another trend because this, I'm telling you, YouTube is the new church. We don't really go to church like we used to. We sign up here and we sign in with our preachers, whether it's Kevin, TLA, Donovan Sharp, King. You know what I mean? It's like whoever resonates with us, that is where we hang out. And we used to do that in church collectively.
Well, can I get some super chats so I get a new suit? Thank you.
We have the collection plate.
Right.
People understand how similar it is to church. We all congregate here, depending on what. Like some people like TD Jakes, some people like Creflo Dollar if he's still around. Some people like the I forgot the white guy's name.
Right.
You know, it depends, right? So I'm like, he's just a mega church preacher that's popping right now, right? They were all popping at some point, but the self-help stuff, the epiphany books,
Right.
that's been going on. Kevin is just trending, and it's like, oh, let me say Kevin.
Right.
Kevin woke me up. Really? Like,
Right.
women have been waking women up for decades.
Right. So I want to say, Ali, what do you feel about intergenerational trauma that, and is it a lost cause? But one thing I noticed that you said is that you did the mental inventory.
Mm-hmm.
You did the self-work. You did the self-work, right? And I don't know if you said that Kevin was the reason, because in the beginning, when I started, I said you went through, you grabbed the gems from what he said and applied it to your life, right? So
yes and no. Yeah, yes and no. So I'm a person that exercises discernment. Kevin is not my only source of self-help. I mean,
right.
there's so much out there. I'm a huge fan of Jordan Peterson. I got yelled at by a communist for that one. I have lots of areas where I delve into. I love philosophy. I love history. I just look at past, previous great leaders. And that's where I get my cues from. So it wasn't that, Kevin was like, the light bulb moment for me was three generations of women in my family were messed up. So what needs to change for the fourth, right? That was where I was like, oh no, like this can't be my life. And I want to go back to like single and childless, and Jen says, oh no, right? I get that, but are most single and childless women living their full lives? If you are out there and you are really doing your best version of yourself and you're succeeding in business, but you're doing it, you don't say you're going to do it and then you casually get around to it. You applied for the PhD program, you're in the Amazon rainforest and you're studying these tree frogs. That's a full life. That's a full woman who is doing what's going to make her happy. But what do most single and childless women do? Make other women around them miserable after they get past like 40. I've met happy ones. It's not most of them. That's just my experience. Y'all might have had your own different experience. But I lived in the Midwest, living in the East Coast, New York, Florida. That's what I've seen.
You know what? No, Ali, I don't want to admit to this because I don't like the way it sounded, but I ain't going front. When a woman don't have what she wants by the age of 40 and up, she's miserable. She's mean.
The DMV. It's the DMV. All right.
I can't front. Like if you really want to be around negative energy, be around a woman that didn't get what she wanted. I'm not just talking about a man. I'm talking about career. I'm talking about everything. Right? They are so mean and critical.
Or the men in Kevin Samuel's chat. Or the men at that age who are single, okay, in Kevin Samuel's chat. It is the same.
But Jen, here's the difference.
They're hateful, they're bitter.
Yeah, you're right. But here's the difference, Jen. This is the big difference. And
they have a penis and we don't.
No. Here's the big difference. The men that, please don't persecute me. The men that are bitter in Kevin Samuel's chat and the red pill, in their mind, if they get the money that they want in life, their life changes. The woman the woman no matter how much money you get, if you're not desirable by men, you're not gonna get the man you want. Unless that man's a gigolo. Do you really want that?